Live from San Antonio, Mike Taylor.
It's People I Want to Punch, Wednesday. It is episode 82 of Taylor Live. It is the 21st of June as we do this program live in the wonderment that is 20 and 23. The never-ending strange tides we all swim together in this world we call America. It is Taylor Live on loveyouhardtv.com, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all of them, and here we go. You boys who've been listening to us on Spotify this week, iHeartRadio app too, all the major players that download podcast and stream and all that kind of thing, we are on them. It is Taylor, DJ LG is here, and it is People I Want to Punch Wednesday. Have you kept up with the Armie Hammer saga at all? The only reason I have is because he's a weird son of a bitch, and I just kind of like reading about weirdos, and his wife owns the bakery down in Alamo Heights.
I was going to say, that's the dude that's from here, right? He's an actor.
He's not. She has ties here, but she married Armie Hammer. He played the Winklevoss twins in The Social Network. He was in Lone Ranger. Wasn't that with that was with weirdo Johnny Depp, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. He's been in a couple of good movies. Dude, I think he's like 39, 40, 41. And was on his way to being a superstar, like an Oscar-winning actor even, like a mega star who winds up being an A-lister and lives in Hollywood and becomes, Bradley Cooper. But he's a fucking pervert. He's a weirdo. He's one of these Marilyn Manson types where he doesn't want to just have sex with you, Lawrence. He walks into the bedroom and looks at you with murder face and wants to cut you and eat your skin and do weird shit with your blood and torture you.
Is that sadist masochist? I don't know, something like that.
His is beyond the pale.
Oh, so, okay. It's beyond a fetish.
Yeah, it's illegal. Especially when so many women have complained about this dude over the years because it's like, okay, cool, I don't mind a little rough sex or being manhandled. It's kind of hot, whatever, but. Yeah, don't leave me in a room for 7 hours while you go shoot a movie and I'm locked in here and I can't even go pee. He took it over. It was over the top.
Yikes.
His defense has always been, hey, I've got some idiosyncrasies. I've got some weird fetishes, and these women that I've dated have all known about this. I tell these girls that I'm with, hey, man, I like to dominate, and I'm into S&M and stuff. They signed up for that. Kind of like, we kept up Marilyn Manson's saga, similar stuff.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about what he's got going on.
The only difference is Armie Hammer's a big, strapping, handsome Hollywood actor, and Marilyn Manson looks like a
Well, yeah, you would expect
subspecies
it
human.
from Marilyn Manson. Like,
Right.
yeah, it's par for the course.
That's
for him,
Marilyn.
yeah.
Marilyn Manson's defense all these years has been, "Hey, man, I'm Marilyn Manson. They knew what they were getting into. I've got weird sexual fetishes, and you can't come in here and act like you love it for a month, and all of a sudden, you want to go tell TMZ I raped you or I'm torturing you." So I'm not trying to victim blame at all, and I'm not taking the actor's side. I'm not taking Armie Hammer's side. I'm not taking Marilyn Manson's side. I'm just sharing the news. I'm a reporter. That's what I do. But in the case of Armie Hammer, there's a docuseries that I need to go watch. Nina watched it recently when I was in Hawaii, I think, and she's been raving about this. He's in the news today. This is the reason I'm punching him. There's a docuseries on his entire family. There's a long lineage of Hammers that also had strange, weird-ass issues with women, right? The men in that family hate women. They hate them. And if you go back, I need to go watch the docuseries, but what she was telling me, and I've read a couple of reviews since she told me about it, is like a great-grandpa, like they're pretty sure he killed women. But it was, 80 years ago, and it was hard to prove, especially when you're rich. Long line of millionaires,
sounded
and
like
they'd like to
kind of
torture
like that
chicks.
That Murdoch family.
Almost kind of, sort of,
it's kinda
yeah.
like they got a long line of criminal history that they've covered up.
And so obviously Armie Hammer is a big celebrity. He's famous. It's the modern times. We live in an internet age. So he didn't kill anybody. He just went ahead and tortured them a little bit. But hey, man, it's all good and loving fucking and torturing. That's what I do. I mix my sex with torture. So many times men mostly get into trouble over their private parts in this world because for some reason people like to mix their private parts with things that aren't meant to be. Like Jesus don't want you cutting on people while you're screwing them. I don't think the Lord set out for that when he gave us the ability to procreate sexually. Don't take out a razor blade and cut my skin and suck my blood. Don't do that. Well, and the reason I'm punching Armie Hammer is because he has settled with the woman. I should have wrote her name down. I've got an article here. God almighty. Elizabeth Chambers. Puma's walking in here late. I think we can expect Puma to come in here about 10:10 every day. What's the name of the bakery with a $15 cheese sandwich? Bird. Bird Bakery is what she owns. They have settled. Probably because he's maybe about to go to jail.
Wait, what happened?
Armie Hammer and his ex-wife, who owns Bird Bakery, they've settled. The divorce is over with. It's been like a 3-year saga.
Yeah, that's been drug out.
His lawyers, I think part of the reason why they had to drag the divorce out is because he's been battling charges. He's been battling accusations from all these other women.
Talking about, you make him sound like he's a rapper fighting charges. Like, no.
Well, he don't have RICO charges. He's got, hey, he raped and tortured me charges.
He ate parts of my flesh.
He wanted to wear my toenails in a vial around his neck. So this came down this morning. Armie Hammer has reached a divorce agreement with his wife, Elizabeth Chambers. This is in the AP. Nearly 3 years after she filed to end their marriage, Hammer's attorney filed documents in L.A. Superior Court. So they've come to an agreement over custody, child support, spousal support, division of assets, and on down the deal. If this is in the lineage of the men in the family, I was talking about the docuseries on the Hammer family. He's not the first weirdo in the family. This goes back generations with the men in that room, and there were people, if you go back 50, 60 years ago, that suspect Grandpa of actually killing women.
Rich people are weird, Mike.
They can be.
They are, for the most part.
Yeah, if I all of a sudden had $2 billion in my checking
weird
account,
as hell.
I mean, I'd be a weirdo too. I like to think that I wouldn't murder people.
Sure.
Or
There's
even
still a
torture,
line.
or even torture
or
them.
even eat parts of their
Right.
back.
So they were able to get, imagine how many guys were able, imagine how many rich white men in 1890 were able to just go around murdering people. There's no DNA.
I'd rather not think
You're
about it.
paying off judges.
Yeah.
No one's going to mess with you. It's just another dead woman, 150 years ago. But Armie Hammer couldn't take it to that
Another
extreme.
dead broad.
Keep donating to the local college and the bank and, do what you want. We'll cover it up for you here in the deep wherever they live. So people I want to punch today, Armie Hammer for being a sick weirdo who treats women like less than humans, even less than animals. He doesn't just have sex, he goes into the bedroom with murder face and tortures these people. LG, who you punching today and why?
I want to punch the Leon Valley Police Department.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a good
Distance.
one.
I support the blue.
Yeah. Apparently they
What do you got?
they arrested a dude for doing chalk art on the sidewalk.
That's correct.
Oh, fucking A. Where was this at?
Yeah, somewhere in Leon Valley.
Okay.
But they
Is there a Leon? There's a Leon Valley PD.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, you're
no,
late.
that's hot
You
as shit.
Store bought.
Look,
we've got an espresso
I'm ready
machine
to punch
here.
somebody over
All
this
right.
coffee. Just,
But I'm going to punch you after you do that. So wait, chalk artists? Like, okay, or were they chalking the street? Were they marking up
there's
buildings?
this dude. He does street art with chalk, and it was literally like right before it was about to rain, so it was going to
Okay.
wash away minutes later.
Yeah.
But they just walked up and arrested the dude, and he got the body cam footage, and he's looking for a lawyer right now, but he's got no money. But they arrested him, took him down there, and the DA said there's no charge here, and they let him go.
Okay.
So yeah, he just got profiled for being a tagger or something.
it's the same Leon Valley
they're
Police
tagging.
Department that arrested people and took their phones with no warrant when they were recording outside of a government, outside of their little annex building. there.
Oh, jeez. Well, I mean,
I can say all this. Have either one of y'all ever lived in Leon Valley?
God, no.
No.
The first 8 months.
No offense to Leon Valley.
Yeah,
they
you
came
both
off.
of y'all.
They came
God,
off. Are you
no.
kidding me? Fuck
The
no.
fuck you think's wrong with
I
me?
won't even pump gas in Leon Valley. I'm just going to drive all up to Boulevardy. I'm sorry,
February-
Leon Valley. I'm no.
February of 2011.
Yeah.
The month I moved here, the roommate had no awareness of where to live in the city, had no idea. There was a brand new apartment, a loft building
You
that
see
had
his ass
just
up in
been
the
built.
suburbs of Leon
Buddy,
Valley.
Driving on Grissom and Bandera every day, just sitting in traffic, miserable. The first 8 months we were there, it was 8 months because we broke the lease.
Yeah.
That was when we moved downtown. Have never left since, except for a couple years in 09. I've lived in 09 and Leon Valley.
Let me say this. I don't trust many suburban police departments.
No.
I don't want to get in trouble.
They're just as bad as rural.
A lot
small
of them
town
listen
rural.
to us. A lot of them watch our show, and I'm not saying everybody, but you have to be careful in these suburban neighborhoods. True or false? They really do have quotas on giving out tickets. Is that really true?
I've always heard it's false, coming from
Because it's
officers
not,
that
it's
have
not
answered the question.
ethical.
It doesn't seem,
if not even not legal.
It doesn't seem. It seems like gray area.
All
at
right,
minimum.
but again, so he was the chalk artist. I ask you again: was it like did he chalk up the entire street?
No. He draws like these beautiful. You know what mandalas are? They're like these circular like designs.
You know what
they
they
look kind
are.
of like floral almost.
Almost
They're
like
beautiful. It's
yeah,
beautiful
I've seen
art.
them.
like
And he's doing
Yeah.
it with kids' chalk art, like the
Okay.
stuff you buy at Walmart.
I
he's
bet
not
had he
drawing
asked
a big dick on the
had
sidewalk.
he asked
or anything.
permission and then showed the city council his work, they probably would have gave him a permit to do it.
God, listen to that bureaucracy.
I know,
Well, let's
I'm
show
just-
the city council
Well,
some of
I
your
mean-
past work, and we'll
Look,
get
man,
back and we'll vote on it 2 meetings from now.
As a dude that grew up in a neighborhood that was full of graffiti, 90% of which was awful and not any good and done by shitty ass paint sniffing idiots, I don't like graffiti. I love murals. I love graffiti art.
Well,
I like
it's more.
chalk
It's
art.
more of a mural.
And so
And
I'm just trying to look at both sides here. Is all.
Yeah. Well, the body cam footage, you can hear the audio. There's 2 cops. One of the cops says, "Hey, he's not doing anything illegal. We'll probably get in trouble if we arrest this guy." And the other cop just says, "Oh well, let's arrest him."
Well, okay. So again, I don't want to throw out all of police forces. Maybe this particular officer
Sounds like someone
went
was
above,
having a bad
above
day.
board.
Yeah.
Oh, he just had a
He
bad
was
day.
He's just
He had a bad day.
You know, Billy Bob, you give him a badge and a gun. Sometimes he has a bad day. and-
Yeah, okay. That sounds like a deserved punch. I told you all the story, I think. Some of these stories in my head, I don't know if I've ever shared with y'all, Thunderdome or never. But so there was a guy that owned a little convenience store in my old hood back in Fort Worth up in Rock Island. His name was Amin. I think he was from Pakistan, and he was gray, and he was super cool, hard-nosed, hard-working, blue-collar dude. Opened up a little quick sack and changed it to Amin's grocery store in the middle of the barrio in Fort Worth.
Get your name in there.
Just trying to, get by. This is probably 82, 83. I'm a kid. Problem, and that's where I always walked up to buy smokes from my mom. Because in those days, kids could go and buy cigarettes in stores. There was a time in this world where a 5 or 6 or 7-year-old could go buy a pack of Winston-Salem's. No, my grandma smoked Winston's no filter. That sound right? My mom smoked Marlboro Lights 100s. And I, at 7, 8 years old, knew what both of those women in my life smoked because I always had to go buy them. And this guy was so cool, he'd always give out a couple of free pieces of candy to kids and stuff. But people would not stop tagging his store. And it wasn't even pretty. Like I said, it was just bullshit gangster wannabe idiots. Somebody would come put their initials on the building, and then some other dick would come down and he'd tag over it, put an X,
You showed him.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Or you'd have like you'd have people screwing or a big old penis. I mean, come on. And Amin kept having to go out there and paint over it and paint over it and paint over it. So finally he caught a couple of kids one night tagging the building. And he's like, hey, if I let you do whatever you want, you have to promise to make it look really good, but then that's it. I'll let you, and then come back every few months and I'll let you redo it. And they were like, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So he struck a deal with some of the kids in the hood that were good at this shit. And they made his building look amazing. And it was all it was very tasteful. It was repping the hood, but it was tasteful, Long story, a little less long. This poor guy winds up getting shot to death because some fuckwad crackhead robbed the place, shot him in the face. Yeah, he's dead. He's dead. Shot him in the face, kills the poor guy. I think his wife wound up taking the kids and going back to Pakistan or northern India, wherever they came from. Horrible story. So when I hear chalk graffiti artist, I at least want to hear the whole story and both sides of said story. I'm not calling out your punch, but it sounds in the case of Leon Valley, to bring it back to what we're talking about, it sounds like it was a justified punch. You got to be careful with these kids out there and they're tagging. But this guy sounds like he was doing a badass work. What's the famous European dude that tags places? Banksy. Yeah, that guy's amazing. He could be making millions and millions if he would just come out and just do artwork for people. Although I think he has taken a lot of undercover jobs and gotten a lot of money to do it for celebrities and bands and shit. Pretty cool.
His thing is he doesn't do the copyright. He's against copyright.
Yeah.
So
that makes him cooler.
So none of the governments will give him the copyright for his work. So people can just copy it. Yeah.
And
he's against trademarks and all that
him all the
stuff.
time.
Yeah.
Who you
That's
punching?
the problem.
Who you punching and why, Poomer?
First of all,
go ahead.
Why is there?
Let's hear some excuses for being late.
Why
today.
is there someone in the chat saying, "Don't snitch on Puma"? What did you suggest I was doing that caused me to be late here?
Maybe, I don't know, tagging buildings. I don't know. I didn't say anything. I didn't even acknowledge you until you walked in the door.
Okay.
Mad at you for being late, so I didn't even acknowledge your presence.
This is going to be a recurring trend. I mean,
I'm coming to realize that. I'm starting to realize that. You might be a segment 2 starter every day, which is fine. I can come in here and set the show up.
No.
Walk in like a badass, sit down, talk, and leave.
So you walk in,
and all late,
you start
and all
the show, and let all the people know how they can support us financially.
Well, we don't start till 6,
emotionally.
We don't start till 6 p.m. tomorrow. Can you make that one?
Well, yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Speaking of that, there's an update on the Spurs trading back up into the lottery.
Breaking sport news.
No,
here.
not really breaking, just touching off of what we hit on. No. So I'm trying this Dutch Brothers place.
Wait a minute. You're going to make me wait for the Spurs news?
Brian Wright said they're not interested in trading either Vassell or Keldon or any of the young core to move back up.
Okay, whatever. So, I'm not either unless the right trade comes along.
I mean,
Brian's
would
learning
you give up Keldon and Vassell for Scoot?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Scoot's
that's what I'm saying.
Scoot's going to 10 All-Star
Not
games.
that's a realistic option.
So they can't say definitively, but yeah. Probably not.
Would you give up Keldon and Vassell for Brandon Miller? the Alabama kid.
Well, do you think he's going to be a multi-all-star?
I think he's going to
Because
be
the
better
answer is
than
yes.
both of those guys, but it's a matter of how much.
There are those that think he's going to be better than Scoot.
There are those that also think he's going to be an absolute bust because he's looked awful in the pre-draft workouts and has dropped almost 20 pounds because he has mono.
Really?
Yeah.
That on the heels of, hey, I didn't do anything wrong when I
Right.
helped my buddy murder a
There's-
woman. Yeah.
There's a lot
think
of
I'm good
there's
with
more
Keldon.
question marks arising with Brandon
Yeah.
Miller than
We
first
don't
suspected.
do that in San Antonio. Let the Pistons do shit
Yeah.
like that.
Well,
Let the Hawks take
or
it.
the Jailblazers, where it looks
Let
like he's
them do
probably
that.
going to end up going. Okay, so I tried this Dutch Brothers place for the first time this morning.
I'd trade 4 number ones, Keldon and Vassell for Dame Lillard. Anyway, I know, but that's okay. Keep
Would
going.
you really?
Fuck yeah! Trying to win a title. Yeah,
But
I mean,
why
I'm
win it?
derailing.
Why win it right now? Why are you trading for a 33-year-old?
Because he's still great.
He is, but for how many more years?
4.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look at what Chris Paul looked like last year. That's what Dame's age will be in 4 years.
Chris Paul's a little kid who's been hurt. A little. I was going to say midget.
Yeah.
Right? Midget. If we do it in Jerry accent,
Yeah,
it's okay.
there's
Midget.
our drop right there.
Yeah. We're derailing. Who you punch?
Okay. So the one thing I've noticed about these places, first of all, there were 2 cars in line. So I thought, I'm in and out, we're good. Me being the 3rd car behind them. So I thought, we're good, solid.
Dutch Bros.
It's the shortest line I've seen all week as I've driven past this on my new commute to work out here.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I've noticed about all these places, though, really tight parking lots, like very small physical footprints. There's not a whole lot of room. Like you don't go in; it's all drive-through. It looks like a snow cone shop, basically.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of room to move around. That is key to this story. So I get around there. I'm the 3rd car back in line. I ask the chick, I'm like, hey, roughly guessing, how long is this going to take? I just want basic ass coffee, Americano, another shot of espresso in there, splash of cream. That's all I want. No flavors, no nothing. Well, she proceeds to read me half the menu. You sure you don't want a caramelator or what? Something like they've got all of these funky ass names.
Let me guess. They're all like Dutch Bros fashion.
But they're definitely
What do you have?
emphasis on the bros.
Can I go in there and get me a dolphin bro?
Pretty much, yeah. So it reminds me. It's like a snow cone shack. So
Give me the beach bro.
pretty much.
Yeah.
So I ask her. She's like, "Oh no, your coffee it'll be waiting for you at the window.
Yeah.
Less than 5 minutes."
Yeah.
I make my order. 5 minutes goes by. Not a car has moved. The 2 cars in front of me, no one has moved. Not an inch. So I'm starting to get a little antsy. That was at the point that I texted you, because if it had truly been 5 minutes or less, I would have been on time, as evidenced by the fact I walked in here at 10:04.
You did.
So I had my timing down.
Right.
I trusted her.
Right.
The bigger issue, I was ready to just bail at that point.
Yeah.
After the 5 minute mark. But because these parking lots are so tight, an employee had parked their vehicle far enough over where I couldn't get around the cars in front of me in line and then get back out because the employee's car was blocking it. So I was trapped in there. I'm stuck at that point.
Okay, before
so
you
punch
finish.
the employee
Okay.
it's not a parking spot.
Have you guys ever noticed how dangerous and compromising you get put in a drive-through line?
Oh, you're stuck.
Where a lot of these places will have these curbs
Yeah.
where you can't. You're there.
My claustrophobia starts
What if there's
to,
a robbery?
Yeah.
Or some fucking mass shooter?
Sure,
I mean,
you're
it's
in.
a crazy
You're
world,
in.
man.
Yeah.
What
These-
if the
these
guy
are the
in front
things
of me
we think about
starts
now.
shooting the guy in front of him?
Yeah.
I can't just drive off. They make it. One of these days,
That's why
I'm
you always
shocked
gotta
it
be
hadn't
packing.
happened. I'm shocked. I'm sure. Well,
Just have it
that's
in your
what
car.
screw me for not having
Yeah,
guns
see,
in my car.
There's your solution.
There's the solution.
Just pull your AR out of the back seat.
I can't believe that we don't hear more stories where people get murdered in a Whataburger drive-through. Sorry, Whataburger, or wherever drive-through, because there's a curb and you can't leave when you want. They're almost making you stay because they don't want you to bail on an order. Seems dangerous. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let me say this about Dutch Bros
I bet
too.
you're right. That is why because they don't
They don't
want you to bail.
Yeah, that's bullshit. I've never had Dutch Bros, and the reason
fine.
is they don't have it. You can't walk inside.
Yeah. Yeah, I remembered that
You
today.
have to either get out, walk up to the little window and take it to go, which I would do, but the weather's rarely good these days. It's hot. Of course, in the winter, it's too fucking cold or rainy. But I'm not going to wait in a drive-through line for coffee. I'm a staunch no-line waiter for coffee guy. Okay? Put that in the drop page.
Yeah, add that to the list.
If I go to a coffee place and there's more than 4 cars, I get out and go in. Because I just can't wait for coffee. I know you probably hadn't had any. You didn't want to be in a bad. Have you smoked yet? Probably not.
No, I did. Well, so
Good.
Okay, here's the other
If you're going to
side.
be late, you better get the cigarette
No,
in.
here's the other side of
Just
this.
be late.
I'm establishing the cadence of my morning now because I'm not
Okay.
used to being up this early. I'm trying to figure out what I need to do when. Like, should I smoke the cigarette here? Should I smoke at the house and then just walk in?
I'm not used to being up this early.
Look.
I know, you're honest. That don't mean it's not silly.
I
Keep going.
was also playing with Victor Wembanyama in year 2027
Oh, okay.
last night till about 3 a.m.
All right. Did he and Dame Lillard
No, I didn't go Dame.
win the title?
No,
Okay.
didn't go Dame. no.
Okay, cool. Hook him. He's having a press conference as we speak, our boy Wemby.
Did you see him yeet one into the fucking
Yeah, let's get
stands
into
last
I
night?
did.
And
I
Aaron
did.
Boone's reaction.
Dude, he's like, holy shit.
He's gonna kill somebody. I don't think it's like Wemby didn't understand. Like, no one's gonna catch
This
it.
is a hard
Yeah,
ball.
yeah.
It's not a basketball. He
No
didn't
one
know.
No, just everyone in the stand. Everyone has their gloves. You got your gloves. I throw the ball. You catch the ball. You do that. It's fine.
Here's what I'm worried about. He was throwing out fucking first pitches and stuff at the Yankees game. He's throwing balls into the bleachers. Dude, you don't know what you're doing. I don't need you blowing a rotator cuff. We got basketball games here.
He's also
You
given
know how to throw.
He's also given Kyrie 2.0 vibes on podcasts. Did you see his quote about just being a part of the universe or
I
whatever? he
did.
said?
Okay.
If Kyrie says that, we clown him for years.
Because he's got bad equity.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Wemby's got some equity. He's also from France.
Right. And he just eats balls into the sex.
So Wemby Mania has taken over New York. Bars and restaurants all over San Antonio are obviously prepping for tomorrow night.
Here. We need to get him
Just
here.
need to get him here.
Fast.
The second that kid, and we'll get into the Yankee Stadium thing in a minute. I was just going to say today, like, so if you're a bar owner or a restaurant owner and you have TVs in your restaurant, you need to be having this draft on tomorrow night, or that's not good business. McFinnigan's, they do good business. We're going to be there tomorrow night doing this show, 6 p.m. start time, live from McFinnigan's, the official buyer of Thunderdome. So this is going to be a big, massive, transcendent night for the city.
What kind of bar do you have to be to not have this on a TV?
One that doesn't want to be in business.
Yeah, I mean, that's
No matter what side of town,
no matter how elitist or trendy or hipster or
gotta
whatever
put this
you are,
on.
you gotta put this
at least
on.
for the 20 minutes.
And that's all you need. You know he's going
Sure.
first.
The minute that kid puts on a Spurs hat, what does the value of that team do? $500 million the second he puts the hat on?
You want to hear my dad joke? So as I
ahead.
was stuck waiting in line
Yeah.
10 minutes for this coffee,
Yeah.
the kid at the front, very, very bro. Hey, bro, we're doing a poll this morning. If you could pick one person to put on a U.S. dollar bill, who would it be and how much money would it be for?
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped and thought, he was like, we've had someone say Jesus for infinity dollars. We've had someone say, and he just throws some others out.
Yeah.
My dad joke, I said Victor Wembanyama on a $3 bill because they're equally rare.
I like it.
It's pretty good.
Sure. What do they use in France? Euros?
Yeah, it's just
euros.
Yeah.
So he spends the day at Yankee Stadium. He wanted to ride the subway, so he literally put him on the subway with about 15 cops
He's
and his
ridden
entourage.
the subway before. He's
In Paris, but he wanted to ride it in New York City. He wanted the experience of getting off in the Bronx and walking up to Yankee Stadium or whatever. And he almost killed somebody with that wild ass throw into the infield bleachers. Did you see this, LG? They had him a baseball, and like and I
Yeah,
guess
I'll
he
send
knows
it to
that
you.
ball players on occasion will
I saw it. I
Will
saw
toss
it, yeah.
balls into the bleachers. He just hauls off and waylays a ball into the infield. Not even like
on a line.
I could even
too.
see like throwing it like into the
Yeah,
upper
yeah,
deck
right.
on an arc,
Oh,
giving
yeah.
people plenty of time to get underneath it. He just Randy Johnson's a fucking ball into the infield lower bleachers, scared the shit out of Aaron Boone, the Yankee manager. He was like, whoa, holy shit. Wild ass throw. And then they have him.
That's so good.
And then did I say Aaron Boone? What did I say? Yeah, Aaron Boone.
Boone's yeah.
And then they have him throw the first pitch out, which was fine. The pitch was awful. I've seen way worse, though, by the way. Way worse.
From American athletes.
Did you see the picture that was going viral of him holding a baseball?
Oh, yeah.
Or it's not just he can hold the whole thing in his fingertips touch. His thumb overlaps his middle finger, holding
He can
a baseball.
basically close his fist with the baseball
He
inside.
damn near can. He damn near can.
I showed Steph the picture. He did. I guess he did the JJ Redick. I can't think of what's 3 Men in a Pod or whatever his
This
podcast
is where he had
called.
the super enlightening statement about how he views the world.
That's right. Because at the end of the day,
It's fine.
basketball is not my importance, and basketball is not why I'm here. I'm here to be a influence in the universe or whatever
Sure.
he said.
Sure.
It's very Kyrie, but we'll just ignore
Let's
that
just keep
for now.
rolling. Let's just fight through that for now.
So I showed the roommate the picture of all of them standing together after they recorded.
yeah.
JJ Redick is 6'4". That's my height.
I showed Nina the same picture and said, that guy's as tall as Puma.
Exact height.
Look
as
at
me.
Wembanyama.
That's exactly. And Steph was just literally.
It's like you and I standing next to each other.
It's bigger than. I mean, it's like when she's seen me, stand next to this cutout of Tim Duncan or Dirk Nowitzki or whoever. And it's like, see how tall you are. Or here's Shaq's hands. See how bad. Like Wemby
Unbelievable.
dwarfs Shaq in some senses.
Sure.
Like it's insane. His size and mobility. Well, add the fluidity of his.
So how the
size.
hell tall is he? Because I've seen 7'3", 7'4", and
he's
7'5".
full 7'5".
Does it depend? I mean, in sneakers, he's 7'5".
He's full 7'5". Yeah.
I've read where it's the shoes. It depends on if he's in shoes or not. Barefoot, he's 7'3¼ or some shit. In the big
Okay.
Nike sneakers, he's 7 feet.
Yeah, I
5.
was about to. Okay, I mean,
All this hype for a Spur, y'all. Pretty cool.
feels good.
Times
again.
are changing. I'm glad we're doing this show. Yesterday, I had to go down to Southtown 101 to do some business. And the dudes were about halfway through the Wemby mural.
Oh,
My boy
nice.
Jeff Slaughter had some graffiti artists, legit artists, come and put a huge Wemby mural with his arms spread open on one giant side of Southtown 101. Y'all both been there.
That's genius.
Pop drove by to check it out. It's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, it was very cool. I tweeted out a picture of Pop driving by in his car waving to the artist last night. Happy days are here again. Is that what FDR once said?
I believe.
I feel like we're coming out of the Depression.
it kind of feels that way.
What's his wingspan? 8 feet? Remember, we used to marvel about Kawhi Leonard's wingspan. Kawhi Leonard's wingspan was 7'3", and we thought that was ridiculous. Now, granted, Kawhi's only, 6'7"?
So yeah, I mean that's the.
Only 6'7".
Yeah, sure.
And he's got a 7'3" wingspan with those giant ass hands. Victor Wembanyama's wingspan is 8 feet. 8 from fingertip to fingertip. He can literally, like LG said, almost close his fist with a baseball in the middle of his hand.
All of the specifics of his build are impressive, amazing, never seen. Oh, sure, all of that.
See.
But his ability to have all of that physically, but move like a 6'4" shooting guard. The fluidity of his body is what separates him from anyone we've ever seen. Because we've seen like Manute Bol, very, very, very
Freak
similar body.
Barely move around.
Think about how he moved.
Even Yao looked goofy at times, and Yao had some meat on him.
Sean Bradley, even young Sean Bradley.
Yeah.
Young Sean Bradley was a force at at college and early levels. He really was.
I'm sorry, the word force and Sean Bradley
Yeah.
together
Right,
in the
but
same sentence.
no, go back and watch some of those. I mean, watch his college highlights. Watch those early years in Philadelphia. He was a lot more mobile than I remembered growing up seeing the 30 and over Sean Bradley. But Wemby is different from anybody that's anywhere close
Totally.
to that. Because we've seen that same body before.
Mm-hmm.
We've never seen it with the guard skills and movement that Wemby has.
He's 19. And there are doctors that expect him to get a little bit taller, actually, and say he's got plenty of room to grow horizontally, obviously, because he's so thin. But he's still a freak, and he's not Chet Holmgren. He's a freak physically. I'm excited just to stand next to him myself. I'm 5'9". I can't wait to the first time I'm in a locker room and standing next to the dude. I was in awe. I've been in awe one time. And it was the first time I stood in the locker room next to San Antonio Cole's own Shaq. I thought that was insane because Shaq's every bit as wide as he is tall. How tall is Shaq? 7 feet even?
No, he's 7'3".
7'3".
Shaq's a little taller.
Okay, but Shaq also has this
He's
massive.
huge.
He's shaped like a beer keg. I've never been in awe of a human being's physical
7'1".
presence. Okay, since Shaq. Although this kid here does not have the girth, obviously, that Shaq does. To be 7'5" legitimately, I can't wait just to stand next to the dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be incredible. He has a 20.5 size shoe. Shaq had a 22.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's actually kind of small.
Yeah, 20.5 foot shoe size to wear those brand new Nikes, which that's fine. He can go sit down you can go smoke pot and hang out with, podcasters and talk about how he's got this vision of the world and
We need to get the
he's got
exact
perspective. As long as he realizes that he is here to win championships too, he can be all that enlightened stuff and winning titles too. And I do think he's got that in his head. He's not a weirdo Frenchman where basketball's number 22 and he just happens to be good at it. He wants to win titles.
It's even better than I remember.
Go ahead, read it out loud.
Full exact quote. My totem is something bigger than basketball.
My totem
is something bigger than basketball.
He's as tall
It's
as a
just
totem.
life. It's just accomplishing yourself inside this universe. And when I need motivation, I always remember that I'm free in this universe.
Someone tell him weed's not legal not legal in Texas.
It's legal until he signs that contract in a couple days.
You know who talks like that all the time? Not in exact
Kyrie
words.
Irving.
No, Greg Popovich. How many times has Pop over the years tried to tell us how unimportant basketball is? They're the woke Spurs, and not even before the riots of 20 or the demonstrations, depending on what you think those were.
Events.
This is a team that stops the bus on the way to play the Grizzlies, and they got to visit. They go to the hotel where MLK was shot. This is an organization where Pop stops the bus, in New Orleans on the way to the Pelicans game, and let's go take a look at this museum here and look how amazing the artwork here is in Voodoo Country. This is an organization where Pop had them watch the movie Chirac. Remember when they were playing the Bulls in Chicago? They went and rented out a theater and watched, was it Spike Lee? I think it did.
Yeah.
He did Chirac about all of the gun violence in Chicago. This is a woke organization.
He's got an easy buy-in from Wemby then.
He's going to fit right in.
Yeah.
He's going to fit right in.
His totem will slide in nicely.
He can be as spiritual and enlightened as he wants to. Who doesn't want spiritual enlightenment, by the way? We all do. If you don't, I do. We all do.
Feels pretty overrated.
No, it's not.
What are you going to be enlightened to?
Well, I don't know, maybe show up to my job on time.
Well, okay. I don't think enlightenment is required.
Maybe.
How?
I don't know what.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm a spiritual dude. I go to places in this world and I'm in awe of nature.
Okay.
I'm in awe of blue whales.
Okay.
I'm in awe of the sky.
That brings me to the submersible.
I'm leading to it.
Is there any place that you would risk basically better odds of death than surviving to go to? Like, is there any spiritual mecca?
I fear death.
That's what
I don't
want to
die.
Yeah.
I'm also a calculated enlightened man. That's part of my enlightenment. I don't do dumbass stuff because I've got kids that are relying on me.
That's the opposite of enlightenment.
No, it's not. That's not free will. That's just not walking around with your dick out.
That's conservative. That's
no. It's
a
balance.
well-respected conservative man doing the best things.
My view of enlightenment is a balance of the two things: work and play as a mix. which is why this is what the Spurs do. Hey, we're going to stop and check out Goliad. We're going to go to massacre sites. If we go up to Minnesota before we play the Timberwolves, let's go check out the George Floyd site. But that night, you better kick the Timberwolves' asses or I'm going to call you a motherfucker. Pop's got that balance. And I hope that, and I think that's this kid here. If the Spurs are ever going to win the title again, and the Nike child factories of Magadan, Russia, are going to put Spurs, NBA champions on the shirt, then this kid's going to have to come in here and wanting to ball out, and he can. They'll be fine.
Thank you, Eric. That does sound a bit Bill Walton-esque.
Yeah, and Walton's got rings. You can want to kick ass at your job and win titles, and you can still be enlightened and all this kind of thing. He's also 19, guys.
That's why I'm saying,
who
talking
gives a
about
shit
the
what he's-
tomes of his universe. Like, you're 19, bro.
Put the ball in the hole.
Yeah.
I get it. And believe me, this show right here is not going to, if he comes in here and he's a bust or he's a big old French pussy, we're going to call him out. You know, I get paid to come on here and tell you how I think it is. I may be wrong, but I'm not gonna not call what I see because it's a Spur and he's Wembanyama. What's that? What word?
That word you taught me for a big fat one.
What do you? Oh, I taught it to myself. I
He
didn't
was
even know
going
what
to be
it
a
meant.
French.
Chon chon.
There you go.
I don't even pronounce it right. I'm so scared to say it.
That's why I don't either.
I've been told by those that know more, steer clear of that term.
And yet you just said it.
Well, we're not on terrestrial radio.
Okay,
If we were
fair.
on corporate radio, I wouldn't say chun chun.
Okay, there's no need to double down. I just saw earlier in the chat, I saw a poor dude that said he was getting ready listening to us in the living room with his kid. And
Sure.
immediately when you said something about rape, immediately said, all right, honey, go clean your room.
Here's the thing, y'all. So this
We
show
need to
is
find a balance.
sure. I don't think I gratuitously curse.
No, but between Chun Chun and
You brought this up,
church service.
and he's not even that. He's skinny. That's a big
Tractor trailer.
Totem.
Lane
Total.
Bryant shopping stuff.
God rest the
I'm
great
way out of my.
tractor
I'm
trailer.
so out to sea right now. I hate this phrase. Don't put that in my head. And I didn't teach you that. I didn't know what it meant either. I just read it innocently on
We
the air, and I
both
got home,
learned.
and my girlfriend's like, "Dude, you can't
You
say
can't
chun
say
chun."
that. Well,
I learned it from Blood In, Blood Out.
oh, yeah.
There's a classic line. I think it's Popeye says it to Miklo.
Give me
some chon chon.
Okay. And that's what. See, this goes back to when we were on vacation earlier this year, and a Thunderdomer reached out. Hey, I need y'all to get back on the air. I need my radio.
We don't need to quit. We're quadrupling down at this point.
All right, I need to set this show back up. I do want to talk about the vessel.
Get us on the rails.
All right, we're at McFinnigan's tomorrow night at 6. The draft is tomorrow. We're obviously giddy. Can't wait for this. We're going to start at 6 p.m. The draft starts at 7. I wanted us to go on at 6 so we can spend an hour hyping this shit because it's going to come and be over with.
I wondered about the.
But then we'll stay on for a little while. But if the Spurs don't trade into the top 15
I was about
and get
to
a second
say.
pick, we'll taper out at 8:30
The
or so.
gap between them taking Wemby versus even if they trade, let's say they.
We're not staying for the second round. I don't think.
No. Well,
No.
we're not. I mean, I might stay, but we can't. That'd be 4
No, we
hours
may
of broadcast.
stay. We're not going to be on the air doing shows.
Even if they trade back up to like number 10th pick, the time between the first pick and the 10th pick, I mean, we're still would be covering an hour and a half.
What is
there.
it in the NBA? 5 minutes?
I think so.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah, I think
it's going to
so.
be a good hour-ish.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that all being said, come out there, hang out with us tomorrow night. We're at McFinnigan's at 6 doing this live show. And we're going to watch the draft and see how things go. The Spurs have 3 picks, including the Wembanyama pick plus the 2 second rounds. There's people that think the Spurs are trying to move up, which I certainly think that they are trying to. Doesn't mean they'll be able to do so. And you can watch this thing, as always, on YouTube. You can listen to it on Spotify, Twitter, everywhere that podcasts get downloaded and streamed. And for all of our information, past shows and such, and how to purchase merch and give us a tip. You can give us money to keep this thing on the rails here is because we're both there's three of us in the room and only one of us has an actual job. We
I'm freelance these days.
Oh,
so.
we got one freelancer amongst the three.
The calendar has a lot of holes
Hey,
in it.
I'm still a contract laborer.
If you want to buy merch, go to loveyouhardtv.com. At some point, LG, I need you to have a bunch of shirts delivered. We need to do a pop-up.
Yeah,
and give out shirts.
So we need some capital so we can buy some shirts.
Yeah, at some point,
understood. I'm trying to raise capital now. You can jump in here with a super chat and give us a tip. You can thank this show. There's what's called Super Thanks, where after the show, like say you watch the show tomorrow or later today after we've already recorded it live, you can still donate to us. It's called Super Thanks, which is after, or you can give us money for future shows, and it's $1. It's as low as $1. If 1,000 people gave us $1 today, sound like a preacher. If just 1,000 of you want to give your heart to Jesus, just $1, that's $1,000 to the Church of Mike. See, we just give 1,000 people give $1.
You sound like
we can go buy headphones and stuff and stay in business for 2 more weeks.
You sound like Coach Trailer trying to raise money for the. Look, I don't need
everybody
one
gives
person
$1.
donating 1,000.
I need $1 million to give one.
That's
That reminds me, there's a
simple concept.
new season of Gemstones just came out, by the way.
Okay.
Have you watched it?
No,
yet?
not yet. Don't tell me
Okay.
nothing. No spoilers.
All right. And we'll sell you a membership too. It's $6 to buy a membership on our YouTube channel. You can also tip us by going to buymeacoffee.com/Mike Taylor Live. You can also support us on Spotify, 99 cents a month, or $4.99 a month, or $9.99 a month if you so choose. You pick your poison. Okay, let's get into this vessel because I haven't seen anything since we started doing this show 45 minutes ago.
Oh, I think they're.
It's literally fluid. Have they found them?
No.
But they suspect the oxygen's run out.
I think we're approaching
that time.
Yeah, I think it would be early this afternoon, I think.
So the world waits or has been waiting on the outcome of this missing vessel in the northern Atlantic over the Titanic site. Lots of intonating over what has gone on, what's happened. There was a report that the Coast Guard or somebody could hear noise banging. Dude, we're talking about the sea, a massive amount of space and ocean. You're not going to be able to hear banging or caterwauling from inside I keep calling it a vessel.
What else is it? I mean, it's a vessel.
The U.S. Coast Guard was saying that they have now, as of this morning, had combed a swath of ocean about the size of Massachusetts.
Well, okay.
So
does
what
that
are you
mean
seeing?
they
Are you seeing that they don't suspect it's going to work out?
Well, let's just be real here. It's a tiny.
I know, but two of the people on the vessel have done this multiple times. They have death wishes.
Sure.
And they got their wish.
Yeah.
Why would you do this 3 or 4 times? Because you're addicted to it.
Sure.
You're just waiting to get killed doing it.
I mean, I can't say I wouldn't do it if I had the money once.
But then you get the British dude. I think it's like his 3rd trip or 4th.
Yeah, that's just asking for to be a martyr in the name of science. Here's the thing that freaked me out the most. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, when you say they've combed the ocean, the area of Massachusetts,
that's what the Coast Guard said.
Is that just the surface area?
Square miles, square nautical miles.
The surface of the ocean.
I don't know what that means.
How deep can they even go?
I don't know.
Because it takes them like 2 hours of just straight falling to get down to the very bottom.
But when did we lose contact with them?
Right.
At what point did they go off the radar?
And they've also
it was an hour and 45 minutes into the descent. They lost contact.
So they were 15 minutes from the bottom.
Way the hell down there. Good Lord.
And then what makes it even scarier to me, they have a mechanism to ascend back to the surface of the water, but they don't have any way of opening the sub.
It has to go all the way to the top.
So they could have ascended, and they're just somewhere floating on the top of the ocean.
Yeah, the hatch is bolted down from the outside.
Correct.
It cannot be opened from the inside.
Right.
So even if they're floating somewhere, they'll run out of oxygen.
Exactly. Like that's what I think.
So maybe that's where you hear some banging if they're on the surface.
Maybe, but even then,
wow.
I don't know how you're picking that up. And I mean, going back to what we kind of talked about teasing this yesterday, I went back and watched that CBS News, and that reporter now has spoken a lot on social media about how they got lost for 5 hours the time that he was doing the report on them, and then they cut all the internet so he couldn't post about it as it was happening to him while they've lost the vessel before.
This is a piece that was on CBS Sunday Morning that CBS News ran a few years ago. They put a reporter in there and sent him down there. Yeah. I just wanted to set that up.
Set it, yeah. That's the one yesterday where we were joking about literally they used like a Logitech knockoff video game controller, which isn't, that part isn't necessarily, it doesn't surprise me that they would use a video game controller or something of that similarity to control this thing.
Right.
No, the military uses Xbox controllers to control the periscopes on their submarines. Not to drive the submarine, but to control their periscope.
Right.
So you would think you'd want something with a wire when you're driving a submarine, not a Bluetooth.
I don't know shit about this kind of stuff.
Or the actual Microsoft license controller instead of the...
Yeah, don't get like a knockoff third party, a rocket fish or whatever.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So the name of this company is Ocean Gate. It's for tourism. Rich people that want to spend a shit ton of money to do dumbass things like this. It's a submersible vessel, whatever you want to call it.
There was a writer for The Simpsons that went down on a trip at one point a couple years ago.
Yeah, and he rolled on that.
He's talking. Yeah.
There's 5 people in this thing. The captain and the 4 people who bought tickets. Weird rich people who need to do things like this because they have so much money. I guess regular fun has become too boring. People have long criticized this company, Ocean Gate, saying that it's dangerous. At some point, you're going to get a bunch of people killed. You've got more leaks than the Iraqi Navy. Probably shouldn't make a nautical joke, but it's what came to my head. As you boys were saying, it's about 2.5-ish hours to get to the bottom to see the Titanic. Many of these expeditions are canceled, weather, whatever. Others get thrown off course by ocean currents, and maybe you get to see the ocean floor and some of the topography, but you're not going to, a lot of people wind up not seeing the Titanic. There was the report you mentioned on CBS. There was a woman that he interviewed from Mexico, I think. She got obsessed with doing this when the technology, when it got public that, hey, we have the ability to take tourists down to see this thing. She got so obsessed with it, she paid for it, $250,000. They had to cancel it. Sorry. She didn't get to see the Titanic. She got blown off course and it didn't work. So she comes back, spends another $250,000 the next year. For whatever reason, they didn't get to see the Titanic, didn't work. Came back a third time. Jeez. Teared up talking to the reporter saying, I need to do this I just have to. She was so obsessed with going to see the Titanic wreckage.
I need to see where Jack held Rose.
Right. You know, that's another thing. You've been duped by the Hollywoodism, the westernization of this accident. You know how many other shipwrecks there are in this world that are way more cooler? And have way more cooler stories. Thousands. And literally have treasure and gold and 2,000-year-old pieces of Egyptian art on
bottles
them
of rum that are still...
There are people that make a living going down to shipwrecks and selling the stuff they bring up to the top for millions of dollars. But Titanic, I got to go see where Rose went to see Jack at the end, was obsessed with this shit.
Okay, time out, though.
Yeah.
The pictures that I have seen that people have gotten in the past.
It's eerie.
Of having the shot with the little, circle behind them, the window with the bow of the ship right there.
Hell of a selfie.
It's a hell of a, few people can claim that they have a selfie in front of
bullshit.
The Titanic.
That's all made up, though. That's in a Hollywood basement next to the flying flag on the moon.
Exactly.
No one's going down there.
Get your fake ID and your medical marijuana card, and then get your selfie in front of the Titanic.
The Titanic, for whatever reason, probably because we're Americans and although the dude that's gone down 3 times is British, and his son, there's just been this Hollywoodification of the Titanic.
It left from London, right?
It did.
Okay.
Liverpool, I want to say.
Was it? Okay.
And half the people aboard, I think, were English.
Yeah.
And a bunch of rich Americans.
Yeah.
it's just become such a cult phenomenon that it's led to, let's just take rich people down there and risk everybody's life to go see it, which is incredible. But God, no, I wouldn't do this.
I would be lying if I said there isn't a small part of me that marks this as a victory for the proletariat. A little bit.
Oh, that it didn't work. That a bunch of rich
That a
people
bunch of
just
Hey,
suffered to death at the bottom of the sea.
That's 5 less rich people we got to worry about on this earth.
You know, you hope that maybe they just died quick,
Oh.
they passed out, but
No,
to
this
die
is
of
going
lack of
suffocation.
oxygen, you
Yeah,
imagine the
that-
shit going on in
No.
there? Oh,
Well, can
my
you
God.
speak
How
literally
the
that?
suffering.
Can you imagine the shit? Like these people are. There's a tiny temporary bathroom on this thing.
It's rudimentary.
People, you're dumping your pants at this point because you're like we're gonna
Yeah.
die. What am
And
I?
they
What am I
say-
gonna do? Actually use this little bathroom? Fuck no.
The
no.
vessel's about the size of a minivan.
Yeah.
And they're just all piled up in there.
It's gonna smell awful. Even if God forbid they don't find them in time, they all pass, and then they do find the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what that thing's gonna smell like in a week. They finally get it, crack that thing.
Imagine if there's a breach in the hull and the compression got lost.
Oh,
Then
see,
everyone's
that-
going to be flat as a pancake.
But
in
that
there.
maybe
would
their
be,
brains all
but that
blew
would
up
be
and it
better.
was quick.
because it was quick.
Yeah.
That's actually, if you're one of these people and you 100% are facing death,
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have that than the slow suffocation of lack of oxygen.
You boys know that I love the ocean, but I fear the ocean.
I've got another ocean story
From a
for you.
guy that has been in the ocean, who's lived on the ocean, I fear it. It goes hand in hand. It's funny how that juxtaposition works.
It kind of makes sense.
I don't. It's funny. I'll go swimming. I've gone quarter mile out to sea swimming by myself. But I think if you gave me the choice, all right, we're going to stick you on a rocket ship and let you orbit the Earth's surface, or we're going to take you to the bottom of the Atlantic to see the Titanic, I'd take the space.
Same.
I'd be less afraid
No question.
to go up in a spaceship
Yeah.
than go to the bottom of the sea.
And the other thing is too, not many spaceships, like Bezos' spaceship is not using a fucking big cat knockoff video game controller to fly. Like
No, he's not using the touchscreen on a Kindle to control that thing. or what?
Exactly. He's not using my Palm Pilot
Right.
that I got from high school graduation.
It's a $1 billion exercise.
Correct. It's very different. It's very different. No, speaking of the ocean, I know we won't get to it today.
All right. What do you want to
but
tease now?
story for tomorrow.
Okay.
Have either of y'all boys been following the orcas that have mounted a full-out assault on the
Yes.
wealthy yacht owners of the Mediterranean?
Orcas talk. So funny. Me and
Buddy.
Nia had a long conversation about orcas last night.
This
I've got some things I want to add to that conversation. Okay, there you just produced a segment for tomorrow.
But
Orcas talk.
I'm
Forget
gonna show up-
Wembanyama. We're going to talk orcas at
I'm going to
6.
show up 5 minutes late. I've produced every segment we've done the last 2 days.
okay.
What are you talking about?
You produced it?
You did ass whips. We did punches. We got
I
that
don't
out of the
have
way.
to get to it.
Then we got Wemby talk. We got the potential trade up for a lottery. We've got the
kid.
submersible.
This is the dude that made C's
We've
in
got
high
the
school.
Orca.
Yeah.
Hey, C's. What are you talking about?
A's.
Thank you.
But had to bullshit his way into
Oh,
it.
that's correct. Well, no, I got C's
What do you mean an 88?
in all of the AP classes.
Yeah.
I barely passed, but I got full credit on the AP test. I just wouldn't do. I'd do just enough to stay qualified for.
I'd rather you
sports.
be on time and not produce content.
Okay, fine.
Oh.
No Orca talk.
No, I've already written it down.
No.
I
I produced that.
I've
no
got
Orca
Orcas.
talk.
No,
Nope.
I've got Orcas
Nope.
takes. Wait till have y'all seen the blue whale story with the Orcas? We're doing this segment. It's good.
Well, do that, but leave the super rich Mediterranean people out
No,
of it.
because I have no idea what you're talking about. So I want to hear that.
Perfect.
I want to hear that, and I will do the blue
Well,
whale.
if I show up on time,
same
we'll
segment.
get
Well,
to
it's
it.
a 6:00 start, so you should be fine.
Oh. We're not going to talk about the Orcas at McFinnigan's. It's going to be all Wemby all the time.
Well, as soon as the kid gets drafted, I mean, I don't give a fuck. After once we get
put the Orcas in the can.
once we
Save
get
that for Friday.
Once we get to Houston's pick at 4, I'm out of the draft.
no,
I don't give a shit
I'm
about
going to
anything
do some
beyond
deep
that.
analysis of the
No,
late
I'm
first
gonna- I'm
rounders.
going to go potty while you're doing that.
There could be some potential steals at the top of the second round too, if the Spurs don't trade out of that number 33 pick.
I'm gonna watch Wemby get drafted, Scoot, and I'm gonna see. We're gonna stay on at least until the Rockets pick at 4, so I can give my buddy Craig some shit, the TV guy for the Rockets.
The Orcas have literally formed like army units.
Package.
It's amazing.
This is amazing. No, have you read about it's been, or again, I'll tease it by saying we've been studying orcas and killer whales, same thing, for years. But for whatever reason, in the last, what would you say, 5, 6, 7 years, these things have started to do things that are unprecedented in recorded history. Horrible things.
Yes.
Great white sharks fear the orcas.
Yes.
All right, we're going to get into this.
Package.
All right, okay, package. All right, that's it. We're done. All right, love you all.
Do you realize all of the equipment in this room is higher tech than that submersible? But good luck to the 5 suckers that are stuck on that
I trust
thing.
LG to get me to the bottom of the sea more than I do Ocean Gate or whatever the company is.
Ocean Gate sounds like something from Johnny Quest, too.
It's like
sounds like Venture Brothers.
Sounds like a SeaWorld ride.
Yes.
No, we're not going to the bottom of the
yes.
Atlantic.
It sounds like the Jules Verne Disney World ride. Or the Jacques Cousteau.
All right, we're done. Thank you, boys. Appreciate all of the contribution. I love all the tips. Thank you. Keep them coming tomorrow. We're going to do this at 6 p.m. live from McFinnigan's. You boys come out and hang out, drink one with us, and let's all celebrate the Spurs as we get Wemby officially tomorrow. Thank you to DJ
Come on
LG.
now,
Thank you to
Spurs.
Poomer. We'll see you boys tomorrow. Love you hard. Come back, you puppy!